Hi, and welcome to this AWS for Industrial Web Day session entitled Automate Away Human Errors with Augmentation for Safer, More Productive Operations. I'm Joe Rosing, and I lead business development for discrete manufacturing solutions at AWS. Joining me today are Audrey from Terex and Sanjay from Tulip Interfaces. Now, in manufacturing, a key trend is to leverage ever-increasing amounts of data to enable new capabilities. Examples include digitally executed manufacturing, where we're enabling smart factories to automate non-value add activity and drive increasing productivity. Products as a service, where we enable new business models, new as a service business models, and new revenue streams. Connected products, where data is redefining the customer experience and how we can differentiate our products to customers. And then finally, sustainability, where data can help us reduce energy costs and reduce our impact on the environment. Now, when we talk about digitally executed manufacturing, we find hybrid architectures are driving Industry 4.0 initiatives and solutions. With hybrid architectures, we enable the most efficient and economical way to run workloads or processes on premises and in the cloud in order to improve the ability to experiment and innovate quickly, implement Industry 4.0 use cases like AI/ML, and do that at scale in a way that drives the outcomes that matter to manufacturers, all at a lower total cost. A primary way that we're helping industrial customers achieve this is through our AWS for Industrial initiative, where we're making it easier to digitize, monitor, and optimize industrial operations. With AWS for Industrial, we're uniting purpose-built industrial services from AWS and our partner solutions under a single initiative to accelerate the time to value, regardless if your scope includes a new plant or decades-old equipment. As an example of where we're accelerating value for customers with our partners, today I'm excited to present with our partner, Tulip Interfaces. With AWS and Tulip, customers are able to leverage the unmatched years of expertise, purpose-built services, security, and scale at AWS, while taking advantage of Tulip's capabilities with a low-code app builder, a flexible microservice deployment of MES outcomes, and industry-specific use case templates. Together, AWS and Tulip are able to offer customers a faster path to optimizing production and asset performance at scale. To learn more about Tulip and introduce our customer speaker, I'll hand it over to Sanjay Rajan, Ecosystems and Industry Lead at Tulip.
Thank you, Joe, and thanks for hosting this for us. I'm Sanjay Rajan. I run business development and partnerships for Tulip, which is a frontline operations platform, and I get the pleasure of introducing it to all of you today. So the central thesis of Tulip is really built around three things. One is that traditional manufacturing has always been underserved in terms of technology and software. And there are a few reasons for that. One is really just the whole IT OT divide, right, between IT and operations technology, which means that business users and operations have never been in control of the software that they have to use. And Tulip's thesis is really to have a platform which is a no-code platform. And the no-code part of it is really where we give the power to the business users to control their own destiny. And with collaboration with IT, build the right kind of applications at the right time and deploy them. The second part of that is of the constraint in manufacturing is around connecting machines, devices, and exposing that information to the applications. The more automation that is in the shop floor, there's a more need to know what's happening at the process level and at the machine level. So the Tulip platform is IoT native. And what that means is out of the box, we provide connectivity to the machines, sensors, smart tools. And in fact, we also provide this connectivity to business systems like ERP. And by doing that, we expose all of that information. In the case of machines, it would be tags, device sensors, it would be their outputs, directly into that no-code platform, which means, again, the business users have the control of embedding that kind of information into their applications. And the third thing about the platform and the constraint in manufacturing is that manufacturing has this been the constraint of having to deploy point solutions across their shop floor. And these solutions are deployed whenever an issue bubbles up, right? We break that with the Tulip platform by really offering all of this applications on that no code on an enterprise grade platform, which means that you can not only deploy it across manufacturing sites and across the globe, but you do that in a very scalable and agile manner. So, with the thesis of Tulip is really to kind of break these two or three primary constraints that manufacturing is faced. The platform itself is very purpose built for frontline operations. And by frontline operations, we don't mean just the operators who are building product or operating the machines, but this is the extended workforce. This could be quality, this could be sanitation workers, this could be maintenance. So the platform really caters to applications across the spectrum. And the reason why it's scalable across on all of those functional areas is because it's set up such that if you know how to use PowerPoint, you can pretty much start using Tulip, or starting to create applications in Tulip. Literally every process step that you have in that particular operation that you want to build an application for is a series of screens, and you just build your screens and you embed rich media into it. It could be videos, it could be images, it could be even CAD. You then drag and drop functionality that you have. You take advantage of that and build the screen the way you need it. And the no code piece of it is the game changer in there, because we use simple if this then that type logic, and we you can build these business triggers that then can take advantage of this underlying machine data, business ERP data, PLM data that you may have, and you can expose all of that into this rich user experience. With this platform, what you can do is start fresh and build your own applications, but you don't have to, because we also have a library of applications that you can then deploy into your shop floor. So you can dip into the library of best practices applications that Tulip has built, and that would include things like guided workflows, full wireframes to implement digital work instructions, pre-built connectivity to ERP and to other business systems. We support all the popular ones and some of the even less popular ones. By having those pre-connectors built in here, you can leverage them into your applications and build out with the library as a starting point a whole rich set of solution bundles, as we call it, to whatever suits your need. And again, this could be traditional MES applications, it can be health and safety applications, quality, maintenance. Literally, if you look at our customers and how they use Tulip, it's really not predictable where they start and where they're expanding. Across the gamut of frontline operations, Tulip applications are being deployed. The couple of other things in there is really around analytics. I mean, so there is analysis capability right there. So every application that you build can be hooked up to some standard analytics that we already have, or within a few minutes you can create your own analytics, which means you are starting to collect some real-time metrics and not trying to leverage. Excel's fantastic, but Excel's also the bane of manufacturing. I mean, you don't have to move into Excel and to other tools that are there, but in a very self-contained way, start to deploy these analytics into any form factor. So the applications run on laptops, smartphones, devices. It really doesn't matter what that end device is. You can run all of it on there. And so what that leads to at the end is that the more comprehensive your set of applications get, and as you deploy them, you're starting to get real process data and insights. I mean, this is the dream of every lean initiative or a continuous improvement team out on the shop floor, that they have this ability to sit there and not just look at some siloed data, but be able to mash up data from multiple functional areas, as well as maybe even multiple factories, all at their fingertips. So that's kind of the Tulip ecosystem. It's a platform. It's easy to use. it's intuitive, and then on top of it, we have a set of best practice library apps that we have already built that you don't have to start from scratch. You can start leveraging those, and within a matter of a couple of weeks, you will start deploying. With Tulip, we have truly disrupted not just the MES market, but really the whole approach to operations. And it's very gratifying to know that our approach is validated. I mean, if you see the latest Gartner Magic Quadrant that just came out, Tulip is the top challenger, and we are committed in our journey to go northeast on this quadrant and become the leader and the visionary for frontline operations with Tulip running on AWS. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Audrey Kirkland from Terex, and I'm excited to talk about her, especially because not just because they're a Tulip AWS customer, but they started their MES journey practically right when the pandemic hit, and the fact that they were able to not just implement MES on AWS with Tulip, but really just achieve remarkable things through the pandemic, sitting remotely while manufacturing was chugging along is a true testament to our approach. With that, I'll have Audra introduce herself, and I'll have a few questions for her.
Sure, Sanjay. I'm Audrey Kirkland. I'm the Director of Digital Manufacturing for the Aerial Work Platforms Division of Terex Corporation.
So, Audra, I know that we've been chatting for a while, and you've been a customer of Tulip and AWS for a while. But let's rewind a little bit, and I want to start with what prompted the search for MES at Terex, and why did you go with Tulip on AWS? I remember you saying it wasn't a short list, but a pretty long list of vendors that were looked at. It'd be great to know how you got there.
So, whenever I joined the team, there was already a list provided to me, kind of because they had already started the project. And they had plans with that set of vendors to kind of go through and collate. But what I kind of took a step back with the team and talked through was what the vision was for the organization. And so I started a kind of a pathway with each of the sites, each of our manufacturing sites, and we went through and we gathered user stories from each of our manufacturing sites in a quick kind of a quick roundtable version of it, just to get themes of what they were looking for. And the major themes were really digital work instructions, quality management, visual and lean line performance management. Our factories, I learned during that kind of user story gathering, they didn't really have some of the master data and transactional data processes that you need for standard MES vendors to be able to get started, kind of. So when we went through the process, we introduced Tulip into the mix because Tulip was already in one of our factories as a digital work instruction product. So because we needed the and-on piece, which is really more edge IoT based, and we needed the digital work instruction piece, those were two of our kind of primary goals as an organization. We took those two first hit plans and we said, which of these vendors kind of can hit these with the fastest out the gate capability without having all of this master and transactional data already standardized and ready to go. So we really were kind of in a different place than most companies are when they're entering this space. And so that is what led us down the Tulip and AWS journey. Now, AWS, kind of the fact that Tulip allowed us to be on AWS, since AWS was already in our ecosystem, was very much a bonus for us. It was a no-brainer. Once Tulip was chosen as the MES, AWS being a way for us to offer it was a no-brainer for us.
It's fantastic. Good to know that Tulip was viewed as not as traditional MES, but something different. And I think the collection of things that we brought to the table on AWS worked for you guys. That's great. Um, so just the next step really for customers is to then implement, right? And my experience, and I've been both on the vendor side as well as the implementation side, is that these MES projects are long usually, and they always run out of money, if not time, right before they go live. And then users end up living with whatever is implemented for years, heck, even more than a decade. Can you give us a sense for kind of how the Tulip MES is different from that aspect, from a project rollout standpoint, and how you view it and are executing on it today?
So one of the great things about aerial work platforms and Genie specifically as a brand, our business is very much a lean methodology business. So having that understanding that you can continuously improve was easy for me to fold in agile methodology with that team on the manufacturing floor. So we really kind of blended the manufacturing engineers with the digital IT teams so that it became an IT OT combination. We built a collaboration group, and I'm a big promoter of citizen developers as well. So when you think about it, when you have business team members that have a very good understanding of what problem they're trying to solve in a lean trained organization that's very good at problem solving, and you marry that with putting a digital tool set in their hands, you have agile and lean together, and the sky's the limit, right? Because you can then just continue to improve, and nothing has to be perfect. You can get started with where you are, and that has been extremely beneficial for us because everybody has the ability to start where they are.
That's fantastic. And I know, knowing how you people have implemented it at Terex, the citizen development piece of it is such a critical piece to being agile and flexible, and that's really what Tulip brings to the table. Um, on the architectural side, under the hood, how is the setup for scalability and flexibility? Because I know at Terex, you don't look at it as like a single line or a single plant. You're thinking through this in a larger, scalable way, right? So, could you give us a sense for what's going on under the hood and what this looks down the road?
So the way that I think about it, so although I'm very much tied in with the supply chain side, I am from the IT side. So there's a level of structure that I try to put in place, and some guardrails we try to make sure that we're working through. So we do have a global cloud structure for our database structure with replicas, so that we can provide that for everybody, and we have we have global reporting capabilities for global shared needs. But we also, each site has their own local Tulip instances where they can actually go and do their local developments for local needs as well. So again, it goes back to those themes that we had in the beginning where we had shared needs and we needed to build kind of a global solution for shared needs. But we also have local needs, and we don't want to hinder anybody from being able to solve a problem at a plant. So we've made it to where kind of everybody gets both things solved. The management team gets standardized metrics and standard ways of reporting things on things that are very important for shared needs, and the local teams can get what they need out of having the ability to build applications for specific needs they have at their plants that don't have to be rolled up into metrics globally.
That's great. And I know, from the first time that we met and started chatting about MES, and I asked you some of these questions. What struck me was your answer, and which is why I want everybody to hear it a little bit. And I've gotten to know you a little bit, so I know I say this with utmost respect. You're an oddball, right? I mean, from the sense that when I said, "What are you seeing with MES? What's the passion? What's there?" and I expected fully to hear a lot more about on-time delivery and yield improvement and scrap reduction, but you went straight to improving worker experience. I mean, you were very passionate about it, and I honestly say nobody put that ever on the top of their answer list when they talk about MES. So that prompts me to ask you, why this passion for improving worker experience and productivity? That seems to be your driver. I mean, give us a sense of where where you come from at that, right?
So I believe in the frontline worker. I really do. And technology has the ability to be an enabler for them. The frontline worker is where small changes can have a large impact, and those guys have skills we value. I shouldn't be trying to make a welder a typist. And technology, like it's my job as a technologist to help get that information that the organization needs without putting the burden of being a typist on a welder. And so I'm smart enough to help solve that problem. That's where I feel like my value is. And I love those guys. I want to make their jobs as easy as possible. And it does actually yield great benefits because they are the masses. So you do a small change there does make big impact. So it does help the bottom line as well. Don't get me wrong. But I truly am like, I'm a fighter for the little guy. I really am. Like,
That's fantastic. A follow-up question to that: when folks on the floor realize that they have a voice and some say in what that experience is, do they ask for more? I mean, are you seeing that across plants, or is it depends on the individual, or what? Just a little insight into that too.
So I think it depends on how engaged you get to be. And honestly, one of the things that I've hated the most about COVID is the inability to get to my floor with
Yeah.
and get as close as I'd like to be. Um, my miles have gone down, and being able to travel, so I haven't been able to spend as much time with the factory floor workers, and that is where I kind of that's where you get your ideas
Yeah.
from of what their needs are. Because if you go to Gemba, you get to see where the issues are, and you get
Right.
to hear it. They'll tell you if you take the time to listen. They'll tell you what they need, and if you take the time to watch, you'll have ideas of your own of how you can help them that they may not know. But so it really is a partnership. You have to be willing to partner.
Fantastic. And with that, I mean, as talking a little bit more about worker productivity and experience, what are some of the other levers? I mean, from an IT perspective as well as an OT perspective, what are the levers that you have, and kind of especially with Tulip on AWS? Where is that flexibility for you, and how are you leveraging it, especially across multiple sites? And I know you build very, very complex products at the end of the day.
So for us, being able to adapt dynamically what we show based on the product at the station at a given moment in time to help us provide the right information at the right time to the right person to build the right product, you're pokeyoking at the information level, basically. And when you make complex products, that's invaluable because you're actually helping the guy make sure he gets it right the first time.
Yeah.
And everybody comes to work wanting to do the right thing. And so really that's our goal, right, is to help them get it right the first time. And that's really what they want. They want us to show them what they need to know to build it right. And when we can do that, we're successful.
Fantastic there. One last one now, Audra, and this is looking forward and kind of getting your perspective on manufacturing. Most of us on the software side, and the rest of us who don't get the chance to be on a shop floor on a daily basis, we read and hear that the robots are coming, right, to take over manufacturing. And then we read about workforce turnover, aging. I mean, things like that are just generational in some sense. And on top of it, we've had a pandemic for the past year and a half, right? I mean, with that, what's you kind of touched upon it, right? Dealing with this from a COVID standpoint, but what has it been like at Terex, and what's your advice to manufacturers today with all of these factors still in play? Looking at MES and trying to make choices, and your words of wisdom to them.
So for me, it depends on the product complexity and cost of automation versus the product margin, right? Some products just don't lend themselves to full automation because the paybacks just doesn't make sense yet. Now, digital twins, faster edge devices, they're closing the gap. So it is something that you really actually have to revisit regularly in today's world because automation capabilities are changing faster than we've ever seen. And you can do a lot just with marrying lean and digital automation together. But again, I go back to me, I'm not trying to replace the worker. I'm actually trying to enhance their abilities. I'm trying to make their job better, faster, easier, safer. Those are the things that I go after every day. I'm not trying to replace them. I'm trying to make it a more livable job, and a safer job every day. That's my goal every day, is to make their job be the best productive job that they can have in this. And I want everybody to go home to their families the way they came to work that day.
I think that is absolutely. I can see why you picked Tulip, and more important than that, why you're very successful with Tulip and with AWS, because I think that improvement of that worker experience is kind of the heartbeat of manufacturing, and we believe that at Tulip for sure. Thank you for your session today and for this chat, Audra. I can't wait to get on a plane and get to a Terex manufacturing site and walk the floor and live this experience myself, at least vicariously. So,
Well, thanks for having me.